In the last video, we were actually looking at our second piece of tape here, and we uploaded everything. If we just played this, you'll see that we have all of our points, okay? And I just did one revolution this time. So now we want to take this information over to graphical. Now, our ultimate goal is Microsoft Excel, but right now we need to go via graphical. So you'll see second piece of tape come up. I wish the experiment name was up here, but it's not necessary. So I'm just going to select on this three squared or three rectangle box here. And I guess it's just a formatting box. So let's just select on that. I'm going to select on table. And then from table, you'll see we have this CSV, or this data table. And now I'm going to share this with Microsoft Excel. So we want to open in. Put that back over. And you'll see Excel right here. We're going to copy this to Microsoft Excel. If it doesn't open up properly, just go back and do it again, okay? Sometimes Excel is shut down, it doesn't talk really well, and all of that good stuff. But in this particular case, it happened to talk very well. So we know that we have the right data set because our labeling is here, second piece, Braz Eric. It's exactly what we want. Now we want to convert and edit, and we want to make sure we want to keep the same name. Our name is solid. Let's go ahead and drop our keyboard so we can navigate appropriately. I'm just going to go to Dropbox. Then from Dropbox, I want to navigate to my folder here, Physics Braz Eric. And then instead of unit circle, extending trigonometry, I'm going to go to two more radii. And you'll notice that the edge of the rod, first name, last name, we already have some information in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that there. That's our second piece of tape. Okay. And now let's just go ahead and analyze this. Let's open these up. And remember what we're doing. We're trying to calculate the radius. And remember that the radius is just dependent on Pythagorean's theorem. Pythagorean's theorem doesn't call for time. It only calls for x, y. It doesn't call for the x velocity unless we're looking for the velocity, and it doesn't call for the y velocity. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and let's just go back and look at our theory. And let me see if I have that open. If I don't, I'll just go ahead and open it. So I'll go back to paper by 53. I have a lot of stuff open at this point. It may or may not be that useful, but the theory is right here. So Pythagorean's theorem is just r squared equals to x squared plus y squared. And so we'll end up using r is equal to x squared plus y squared. So we're going to find r for all of the data points, and then we're going to take the average. What's going to be produced, let's see here. What's going to be produced is something that looks like this. We're going to have ourselves a graph here, and we'll end up having something like this, where what we're concerned with is this top piece. This is going to be our average radius. Okay, so we'll measure over sometimes, that indicates the side. We'll measure under sometimes, that indicates the side, but we'll get the average. That's where our measurement will most likely occur. Okay, now if you think about it, well, I want to get into what's really happening there, but maybe later. So the average is what we'll be looking for. Let's go back into Microsoft Excel, and let's go back into the folder here. And the folder that I'm talking about, I'm just going to go over here and say open. Folder that I'm talking about is the two more radii. And we have a edge of the rod, first name, last name. So inside of this thing will be, I should have two templates. Okay, so we have the edge of the rod here, and then we have the second piece of tape. So we're just going to go to the second piece of tape. I'd rather just move this over here. You don't have to, but you can since it's first. But notice we're going to paste our x, y values. The radius will be calculated for each x and y. And then we're going to find the average here. And all I have to do is just select on this. You'll see the radius is just the square root of b2 squared plus c2 squared. And it's connecting directly to our theory. And then the average is just a function. And it's going to be the average of, and I really don't like this, but I'll go with it. I may have to change this, okay? And so that's okay. You can change it too. And maybe I don't have to change it. But it depends on how long the data is. So let's go ahead and grab our data. Just going to go back. And I'm going to go back into the second piece of tape. That was this one. And we're just going to grab our data. First of all, let's just hide the data that we don't need. And this is what I want to copy. I'm going to go back and then go back into our template here. And we'll change the name at the end. And I'm just going to go to B and C and then just paste. So you'll see that all of the radiuses were calculated except this last one. And so I need to go ahead and fill and drag that down. And the change that I want to make is here. We don't have to say F1 to F2. If you look at this, it's actually selecting the entire range. What I can do is I can just select the entire column. And you'll notice that it changes to F:(F). So all of the values in there will now be averaged. It doesn't matter how many. Okay. If I just drop this, you'll see that the average is still there. And it's covering everything. So if we had 1,000 more points, it would do that average. And we wouldn't have to go down and select everything. So let's go back. You know, the next one is just going to be the edge of the rod will be the next one. But that'll end this portion for the second piece of tape. So in the next one, we're going to go ahead and do the edge of the rod.